Now, what I need to do is to set up the viewport to look the way I want it to look. So I only want to see the isometric view of the bookshelf here. So there's a few different ways I can do that. I could double click into the model space and I could pan it down. Alright, so I'm just holding the mouse button down, or I could use the pan command up here. And then I can zoom. So I'm going to use the mouse button to zoom and then pan and get it to look fairly good on there. And if I'm cutting off a little piece, then I can just stretch this out a little bit. And there we go. Okay? And that looks pretty good. Another way to scale it, if I wanted to, is I could click on the viewport, right click on it, and go down to properties. I'm just going to do that again so that you'll be able to see it. It was a little bit off screen, so I'm going to right click, go down to properties, and this viewport window will open up, or the properties window will open up. I'm going to move this bar down, the gray bar on the left, and here I could select different scales. So I could go a 1 to 2 scale, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit too big for this sheet. If I was using a non-standard scale, so in here there's no 1 to 5, which would be my next standard scale, then I could go to custom scale, and in this case if I wanted to do a 1 to 5 scale, I would go 1/5, so 1 to 5, and click somewhere else, and that's what a 1 to 5 scale would look like. In this particular case, since we're doing the cover sheet, this is going to be an NTS drawing, so I don't have to make it an exact scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close that, and I'm going to double click into the viewport, and I'm going to zoom up a bit and get it back to the way I had it before. So I'll maybe take that just a little bit smaller. And that's looking pretty good there. Okay, and I'll double click back out here. Now, another thing I tend to do is I'll make up a new layer. I'll call it viewports. I've already made one up here. And you could call it viewports, whatever you want to call it. And then give it a color that's easy to see. So I just pick magenta. And then I'm going to say, okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the viewport itself onto that layer. So I click there. And the reason I do that is so that if I don't want this outline to show, all I need to do is go to the layer and turn off the layer, and what's inside the viewport still shows, but I don't have that viewport outline showing anymore. But anytime I need it, I can just go and turn it back on again. Okay, so I'm going to turn that one off. And the last few things that we need to do for our cover sheet are to change our title block. So we're going to call this cover sheet, because that's what the drawing is. We're going to change the scale to NTS. And we're going to change the date, and the drawing number will be drawing number 1, and you can change the drawn by if you need to as well. Okay, so the other thing I want to do is I want to put a title here. Our cover sheet should indicate the name of the project. So I want the name of the project underlined, and I'm going to put it right down in this area here. So a good size for the text would be the same size as this. We'd like it to be bigger than these ones. So if I could do draw text single line and create new text and set the text size to about 5 millimeters. Or, since I've already got that the text of the right size, I can just copy, CO for copy, click on this one, and move it to wherever I want to put it. So I'm just going to turn off O-Snap just so it doesn't snap to the wrong spot, and I'll put it in about there. Okay. Now what I need to do is to edit it, and I want it to be underlined. So to underline it, I'm going to do %% U in front of my text. So the percent sign is above the number 5, so I go Shift 5%, %U, and that doesn't show up. I won't see the %U, but everything I type after that will be underlined. So I don't have to put any spaces or anything like that. I'm going to type the project now, book, shelf, project, and see how it's underlined here. And then when I'm done, I can click away from it, and then I've got that So hit enter to bring up the same command. P for previous, finds the same objects, and just slide it up a little bit. Okay, and then that's our cover sheet done. Now when I go to plot this, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to file, plot, and we will leave it at 1:1 scale, because right now that border is at 1:1 scale. Everything in Paperspace is 1:1. So we just leave it at 1:1, plot the layout, and it will plot perfectly. Okay. The other thing we should do, since we're going to have a series of drawings, trying to remember which one is layout 1 and layout 2 and so on, is not going to be all that easy. So what we're going to do is click on the layout, right click, and again that's hard to see. I need to try to get that a little higher for you. Can't really do anything with it. So I will go down to rename, and I'm going to call this cover sheet. Okay, and then now it's just easier for me to tell what that layout is for. And then what I'm going to do is right click, go to move or copy, and I'm going to make another one. So I'm going to create a copy, and I'm going to use the cover sheet one as the basis for it. That way the paper size and everything else will be set up already. So I'm going to say OK, and now I've got the cover sheet, and I've also got cover sheet 2. So I can right click on that one and go and rename it, and what we'll do is we'll rename this one as drawing list. Say OK, and now on the drawing list we want a border, and then we're going to put in a chart with the drawing list, and we don't want any viewports. So I'm going to turn the viewport back on again. I'm going to click on the viewport, I'm going to delete it, and I'm also going to delete the title out of there. I'm going to change this to drawing list. This would now become drawing number 2. It's NTS, or none, actually. It's not even that, it's not to scale, there is no scale, so none. And then your name and date. The next thing would be now to create a chart in here with the drawing number and the drawing title, as well as the drawing size. Right. So I'll let you make that up, and then our next thing will be to make yet another layout. We'll do that in the next video. So we'll stop this one at this point. But now you can see we've got the model, we've got the cover sheet drawing. Again, I'm going to turn this one off here. Okay. And then we're going to go to drawing list, and we'll see that one there. Okay, so we've got 3 different drawings, we've got 2 different drawings started out of one model. If you can give that a try, and then I'll show you how to do the rest in the next video. Okay, good luck.